Hello, welcome to the Mop Boys podcast. I am Cole.
And I'm Seth.
And we are the Mop Boys, and we're here to go over some NBA basketball. On today's show, we're going to go through a little segment we call the Rules of Three. We're going to go over some NBA news. We're going to go over some NBA trades. And
Maybe just
let's get into it.
Just talk about whatever comes to us. First off, this has been a crazy season. There's a bunch of different stuff going on this year. Almost funny, like the most normal thing is the Warriors win, but how they got there and everything, it's just
so bizarre.
Yeah, we'll get into it, just everything in the news, but just
congrats to the Golden State Warriors.
Congrats.
Solidified yourself as a dynasty. To be able to have your whole team restructured like that, and then having to be able to rebuild and turn it into this team, which is as good as any Warriors team.
No, absolutely. The
depth is
of course
insane.
you have your 73-9 team,
right.
like still probably gonna be the best one, but like Jordan Poole, Klay Thompson coming back from an Achilles tear and an ACL tear to be just another just amazing 3-and-D player. Maybe he's lost a little bit of a step, but like he's so smart. He plays the game right.
Yeah.
Draymond, he's the guy, right?
Yeah, I mean, like he's easy to dislike, but man, if he's on your team,
you love him. He's just one of those guys. He's got that dog in him.
The dog in him. He hustles. The things that he does as a playmaker from the post and getting those guys like Poole and Curry and Thompson and even Wiggins, like those open and clear shots.
Speaking of the Warriors, real quick, Steph, congrats. 3-point champ this year, or 3-point king.
Yeah.
He became number 1 overall in 3-pointers, and he's going to be the first one ever. What is he at right now? 3,000 something, right? That's the record? I think he's going to hit 4,000. I could see it happen, and I think he's going to...
he by the time he retires, his number is going to be so crazy that it's going to take...
I don't think anyone...
I mean, it's going to take someone really special to get that.
Riley Curry.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, we're going to get into our next segment, which is Rules of Three. We're going to start off with 3 teams that surprised us. Seth?
Would you like me to start?
Go ahead, my friend. What you got?
So let's start with one that really shocked me this year. I'm going to go with the Memphis Grizzlies. So a big thing about them, not only were they were the second team in the West just overall, but they also had the second best record in the NBA as a whole. It was the Phoenix number 1, then them. And where did they come from, man? Like they drafted Ja, and Ja, phenomenal player. Like we knew out of there, he's probably going to be the best in that draft class, and that was a good draft class too.
Yeah.
But
no,
all these other guys stepped up. Desmond Bane stepped up. Jaren Jackson Jr. finally looks like that player that like everyone said he was going to be. Great defensive player. Led the league in blocks, I believe.
To have this many guys break out in such a special way.
Oh, and Dylan Brooks, another guy who easy to hate, but you hear on your team, you like it. He's that lightning.
Yeah, for sure. And then it's great defensive presence.
Oh, and Steve.
It's Steve, my boy Steve,
Aquaman.
He's the strongest guy in the NBA.
Klay Thompson said if he was stranded on the island, he'd want him because he looked like Aquaman. So it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Big thing. Speaking of all these other guys that you're talking about, 21-6. That was the record when Ja did not play.
Yep.
Ja, again, congratulations, won MIP. I think he should have been up for MVP. But I think he just missed too many games to really get that. And maybe that record also have kind of put a damper on that. But that whole team plays well together. The transition basketball, probably the best in the league.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Maybe too reliable on it sometimes. That maybe would have hurt him in the playoffs.
I think absolutely, because you get into the playoffs, you slow down, it becomes a half-court game. Everybody knows how good Memphis is in transition.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's not a team in the league that can really get out there and run the way they can.
No, absolutely. I mean, hell, they pushed the Warriors to 6 games, right?
Yeah, and you're talking about Warriors
and Ja
team
missed some of those.
that has a hyper-focus on conditioning and being in shape. And they just ran them out the gym. Now, granted, the Grizzlies are a fair bit younger for the most part.
No, they're way ahead of rebuild.
Yeah, they really are. It's not much of a rebuild anymore.
No,
you're just
a
good basketball team. You just got to figure it out.
I think everyone's still in contract, too. I don't think there's anyone like expiring they need to resign. Everyone seems happy, and there's no one out here saying, well, I want out. But I think everyone's in.
It's really interesting. They have a good cast of supporting people. You got guys like Slow-Mo and Brandon Clark and DeAnthony Melton.
Oh, yeah.
You have it's a really interesting. I don't know where they go from here. I don't know if they just lean back on their development or if they try to make a move to get another guy.
They have Zaire Williams too, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I want to see more of him in the future.
Yeah,
he was supposed to be like the number one pick, and he just started falling.
Yeah, he definitely looks pretty raw, but he has his moments, and he looks
for sure.
He fits their game.
Oh, absolutely.
He was definitely like a high motor transition type player. Yeah, man.
And congratulations for them winning the assist of the year. That full court pass, that Steven Adams specialty.
Hell yeah.
And Jaw just threw it. That wasn't awesome. I was watching that live. But that was my first of the surprise. How about you throw us one?
So my first team I would have to put is the Cavs.
Oh, yeah. It's a great team.
They did start to fall apart, especially after Allen got injured. That's a really big deal. But even without Sexton, who previously was their go-to scoring option.
They were pretty sure he was the number one. Yeah, number one guy.
And then come back this season, and now you have Garland and Allen and Mobley.
Garland really broke out this year.
Garland, yeah. I mean, gosh, to showing off his playmaking ability along with his shooting touch and really making Allen and Mobley look a lot better on offense than they really are without him. But what's really awesome is that defensive presence that they have. With Allen being that big body and Mobley being this weak side shot blocker. Allen slows him down. It gives enough time for Mobley to come in and just pin it off the glass. Awesome. I love it. Also, just like
Lowry at the 3.
Yeah, like having Lowry Markkanen on you, and you you get a pick, and like you're just being another 7-footer being right there.
And he really thrived in that role, getting those mismatches. I think it's where he's. Yeah. I think it's where his best role is.
I was pretty impressed with Lowry compared to where he was with the Bulls the year prior. He just looked like he had more drive in him. He cared more.
No, for sure. And I think like a lot of us, including us, before the season started, was like another big man for that Cavs team. Like, what are they going to do? Yeah. And they proved that.
Like, he's a small forward.
Before we go past the Cavs, 2 questions. First one, the Karis LeVert fit. What do you think about that? I get they did it because Ricky Rubio tore his ACL, and he was a big part of that, like bench, like playmaking wise.
They wanted to get a guy who can create offense off their bench or help get the other guys working off their bench. I actually believe that they're going to be probably looking at shopping LeVert and Sexton, or at least that's what I would be doing if I'm the Cavs, because LeVert and Sexton gives you nearly a max amount of space you're working with, and honestly, if I'm looking at that roster, I'm thinking, you know what? I just need one more offensive unit.
Could if they pull something off like that and get that cap space, could they be a dark horse for Bradley Beal?
Levine, I think, would be the best case scenario.
God, yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Because I mean, I think if you're running, let's say you're running Garland, Levine, Markkanen, and you also have Okoro.
Oh, you do have Isaac Okoro,
off the bench. And then you're also got, Mobley and Allen out there.
Oh, that's scary.
I think that team tears it up in a special way.
Before the injuries, they were a top 4 seed. There was a time where I think they were like 2 games out of the first seed, but literally at that time.
And that's why I have them down as a team that surprised me, because I don't think anyone projected that for them.
All right, and so one more question about the Cavs. Evan Mobley, amazing rookie season. Should he have won Rookie of the Year? Or do you think Scotty Barnes was the right choice there? Give me a little bit on that.
I think Scotty Barnes is the right choice, only in the sense that like the Raptors were really, really good, and not that the Cavs weren't a good squad. You hear my dog clicking around back there. It's not that the Mobley wasn't part of a good squad and they didn't have a good season. But the Raptors had a really good season.
Playoff team. Well, not even a play-in, a playoff.
Yeah. And they're largely Scotty Barnes centralized. You know what I mean?
Like, had a big role on a playoff team. That you're going to get more votes that way. That's just how that goes.
I really feel like it's Scotty Barnes' team.
Yeah, for sure. Because you hear all these trade talks with Siakam, Nobi. I've even heard some about Lord Van Fleet lately. Yeah. King of the North. But I think that's Scotty's team, and Scotty was a big surprise this year. We'll get to that, of course.
Yeah. All right. But so, what do you have as well? What's your second team you got?
So, I'm gonna go with the Celtics. That's what I have written down. Sorry. Yeah. What else more to say? That the NBA finalists, the Boston Celtics, at one point were like 10 games under 500. They were looking dead in the water. Like, well, I think we should trade Tatum or Brown. I think it's time we blow it up.
Yeah.
And then everyone just started buying in and buying in and buying into the culture that.
Seeing a
what's it? I don't want to butcher it. The coach's name,
Ime Udoka?
Ime Udoka. He like when he got everyone to buy in, Marcus Smart, like, for a while everyone was like he can't be a point guard on a championship team, but he's proved it this year that he's got a shot at it. Like,
yeah,
one depoy. Congratulations to Marcus, man. Like,
First guard since Gary Payton.
Got that dog in him.
Yeah,
he's another guy.
Man.
Just another one that you hate to play against him, but if he's on your team, like you love him.
Yeah.
He's in a lot of sense the heart and soul. Like he brings the energy. He's out there. Forces a shot sometimes, but when he's locked in on defense and doing the playmaking, he makes Tatum and Brown look that much better. And Tatum took a big step this year. Brown did as well. They're really developing, and that's a scary duo going forward. And I think if they get a Jason Tatum's best friend Bradley Beal on that team, I think that team they have an easy chance of going back to the finals, if not winning it. It'd be really fun to watch them get Bradley Beal.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And they really. I've never seen a team start the season and prolongedly just be bad.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's not like we're talking about those 3 weeks there, they were really rough. I mean,
it was months.
It was at least a third, if not over half the season.
It was mid-January. There's like a day where something happened and they just clicked.
It's nearly half the season they were just bad.
Then they just turned it on and they were the best team. Just the best team in the back half of the season.
But when they figured it out and they rallied behind Udoka's system that he was implementing and rallied behind Smart is maybe not even their best one-on-one defender, but as the guy who operates the defense. He's the one who steers them.
Robert Williams at the center, just like the shot blocking,
pairing him and Al Horford in a very similar way that they pair Mobley and Allen.
Yeah.
That team's awesome defensively, and if they were to add a offensive star like Bradley Beal to him at the shooting guard.
Let's keep saying it. I like it. Man, you got Al Horford here, 36 going on 27 here.
Yeah.
Look crazy in the playoffs.
I'm like, is this guy going to play until he's like 46?
They call his teammate the Time Lord, but he may be the Time Lord,
dude,
man. He's crazy out there.
I am confused about how good he looks.
Celtics were a good fit for him. He wasn't a good fit on the Sixers.
Yeah.
Got dumped to the Thunder for Cap, because Thunder are doing my GM on 2K stuff. It's awesome to watch. Yeah. Traded them back to Boston. Everyone's like, is that really the move you wanted? I mean, I know Kemba didn't work, but is that what we wanted? Worked out for him. Got him to the finals. Helped. He was a big part of it.
Sure did.
Other Williams, Grant Williams, 3-and-D, menace out there. Love watching him.
He's really clicking it together. I still have some weird questions about him. He's definitely a character.
He scrapped up with Draymond when Draymond came to put. I remember because what's the coach's name? You're gonna say it for me. Udoka. He called his team out in the interview. Kind of was like, if I was out there, I would have got flagranted. And Grant Williams next game started scrapping up with. And that's just another thing he does for his team. Like he gets them fired up, and like when they're all together and they're going, like that's a scary team. Best defense in the league. Scary. Yeah. Super scary.
Absolutely.
Oh, and also the trade to get Schroeder out of there to make more space. You got Derek White.
Derek
Big
White
moves.
was a really good addition to him.
Great 3-and-D off the bench.
Obviously, those last couple games in the finals, he didn't look great.
A lot of them didn't. To be fair, a lot of them did not.
But a lot of them didn't look great in those games. And I don't think that really should go on White because there were... First of all, you didn't get Derek White thinking that, this guy's going to consistently give us 20 points a night.
No. But you got to win the Derek White game.
Yeah.
You got to win the Derek White game.
The fact that at least once a series, he was putting you up 20-plus or giving you...
absolutely.
I think he did it twice a series for them. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, I would say I think the biggest disappointment for that team this year, and again, this is nitpicking, but just so we're here, Jason Tatum kind of shrunk in the spotlight of the finals a little bit. He started forcing some shots.
Progressively worse as the finals went on.
But Jaylen Brown turned it on. He was killing it out there.
He looked good. It was odd to see. Of course, they both had atrocious turnover numbers.
Oh, gotcha.
And the dribble
too fast.
Was really a problem.
But he was just dribbling too fast. He got into that I have to do it now thing, and those Warriors took advantage of that fast. But so what's gonna be your second team on the surprise?
My second team is going
Love
to
it.
be the Mavs.
Solid.
Cricket.
That's our sweet baby Cricket. She's just exploring.
Yeah, she's just walking around. She's interested in all the podcasting stuff.
She want to I'll get her a mic.
Yeah. Well, let us know if we should mic up Cricket. My second team that surprised us would be the Mavs.
Absolutely.
I'm just going to run through it real quick. No one expected the Mavs when they. I expected them to make the playoffs. That trade for Porzingis made a lot of sense to me.
For sure. I was immediately. I saw a lot of people criticize. We both were like, no. That's a good move.
That makes sense. You don't want to be paying Porzingis.
You got Dinwiddie, another playmaker, really helped them out.
Getting a secondary ball handler in there with him, or someone who can run your offense.
No, for
Luka's
sure.
not there. I understand you have Brunson, but Brunson is a very different player than Dinwiddie.
Oh, absolutely. But they play very well together.
They do play well together, and they do certain things that are similar. It's almost like their way of doing it.
No, absolutely.
Different.
Yeah.
But no one expected that Mavs team to have that playoff run that they did. And they were great. They were great. And I think the Mavs are in a very interesting position to
Just traded for Christian Wood. We'll get into that
Christian
later,
Wood,
but that's going to help them a lot.
I
I do remember at the beginning of the season, my big prediction for the season was like, I think the Mavs are going to win their first playoff series with Luka since 2011. And they went much farther than I thought. They just kept winning, upset the Suns. That was crazy. But I think you're right. They are in a great position. A lot of chat about them maybe getting Rudy Gobert. I think the whole Christian Wood move may throw that out. And good for them because now they have enough space to go and get Brunson still.
Yeah.
And keep their whole team together without really breaking the bank with the Wood trade. They didn't really have to trade a lot away. But I'm excited for this Mavs team. We're Texas boys here.
Yeah.
Big Rockets fans, but if they're not playing if the Mavs aren't playing the Rockets, I'm cheering for them.
Yeah. They were definitely a surprise.
For sure. A big thing about them surprise, they were fourth in the West, top 4 seed. They had home court advantage against the Jazz. Luka goes down, and Brunson stepped up. We touched on Brunson, but he looked really good against that Jazz team.
Yeah.
The Jazz they found the weakness of the Jazz, and that was the perimeter defense, and they attacked it, and they were able to get Rudy Gobert in some uncomfortable spots, and they went forward. Dinwiddie stepped up. Everyone stepped up. Denny Fisk Jr.
Yeah. That guy is a solid player. He's
3-and-D to the antithesis of 3-and-D.
He's the kind of guy that every team wants. I'm at the Mavs team.
And the defense is
got
just
a very
speaking
interesting
of
future.
defense.
He's
I don't know
awesome.
where just the whole team's defense stepped up. Luka's still, not the best defender, but everyone on that team,
he
they're just
has some.
they're just annoying on defense. I don't mean that in a bad way. They're just
they're pests.
They're in your face. They'll hit those open threes. Their whole team is like a 3-and-D. We follow Luka. They built a solid team around Luka, and this Christian Wood trade could really make some noise for them. They can keep building.
Anyway, so Seth, moving on to your third team.
So my third and final team here, I'm gonna go with, is the Minnesota Timberwolves. I just was very shocked about how good they did this year. They ended up being the 7th in the West. They were a play-in team.
Mm-hmm.
They made the playoffs, and they pushed the Grizzlies to 6 games. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we didn't get 7. We thought we were gonna get 7, and honestly, they should have won that series. Let's be fair; they should have knocked off the 2nd seed Grizzlies, but they had some really ugly second halves, particularly fourth quarters. They had a bunch of breakdowns. But without that, you look at that team, did anyone give them a chance of making, maybe the 10th seed, but, 7th seed, knocked off the Clippers. That beautiful Patrick Beverly video, he just won the finals.
Yeah.
Love that. Got that dog in him. He's awesome.
Man.
But, they made it. Anthony Edwards is improving so much faster. Proved me wrong. Going into the season, was not on his side. I was like, I think he doesn't have the right mindset. I don't know if he could lead a team. He seems immature. He came out and he improved in every way. Proved he could lead that team. In those playoffs, in the play-in, he was hitting step-back threes, things I didn't ever seen him do. He just pulled stuff out and so athletic. And I'm excited. And him and Cat dropping 60 this year, just out of nowhere. No, I'm that guy. I'm that center you can build around. And I think Cat's now really growing to his own. He's gone through a lot in his life, and I just think he's really growing into the guy that everyone knows he could be. I'm excited to watch that team. They were a big surprise this year.
Yeah, I think it's clear that Cat is probably can't be your first option
Oh, yeah,
Which I think when
absolutely.
he came into the league, people were like, "This is a guy that can be the guy."
Yeah.
But let me tell you something. Anthony Edwards, he can be
He's the
that
guy.
guy.
And Cat can follow. And I
Yeah.
like D'Lo. I like D'Angelo
Yeah.
Russell a lot. I think he forces some shot at times he doesn't need to. If he could just
It's the
if he could-
inefficiency.
inefficiency. I think if he could just really understand, like, you are the third option. I am the third option here. I think he will thrive in it because he's got great playmaking. He can dish the ball well. He just needs to tighten everything up, and he can be really solid out there.
All right. So for my third team that surprised me, I'm going to be going with the Charlotte Hornets.
Solid.
I know you
Solid.
look at where they ended up, and you're like, "How are the Hornets on your list?" But
It's still a playing team. You know, you can add respect.
just the jump from being
No, for sure.
just the absolute trash.
They had some
franchise.
injuries this year too.
and they
with
had a
that
bunch
team.
of injury problems.
Gordon
that-
Hayward, like, you paid a lot of money for him. He's a great player, and you had to. He missed a lot of the season. So
yeah, they paid. They did very good. I thought they overshot. They were just at times where they looked so good.
Dude, there were some games we were watching. Like,
Yeah.
this is a weird one, but they were playing the Magic, another fun team to watch.
Yeah.
And that game was so fast paced. It was so exciting.
They're a
if-
fun team to
for
watch,
sure.
man.
And I think if they can get
Absolutely.
Mike D'Antoni as their head coach, I think that's going to be
Yeah,
crazy
the
for that
offense
team.
on that team.
LaMelo's
could
going to
be
average
so-
15 assists
Yeah.
a game or some crazy stuff like that, man. It's going to be awesome.
I would love to see them grab. I'm sure they're going to grab a big. I think like Mark Williams is looking like is up their alley.
You think
from
they have
Duke.
you think they can be on the Aiton train? Think
I
they
could-
slot maybe like
I
a
could
sign and trade. They have
definitely-
assets for sign and
Definitely
trades.
could see them being an 8 and trade. They've been linked to Miles Turner the moment they drafted LaMelo.
Oh yeah, for
You
sure.
know,
That'd be fun.
But yeah, man, I think the Hornets look great. But with that note, let's get into our next segment here.
So now let's transition to our next segment on Rule of Threes, and that's gonna be 3 teams that disappointed. Would you like to start, good sir?
Yeah, my first team is a pretty obvious one, the Suns. It's just to have such a dominant season.
Absolutely.
Best team in the NBA, not even a question.
60 wins.
Yeah, a 60-plus win team. I mean, just absolutely killing it. And they go and they fizzle out in a legendary fashion
Like,
in the playoffs.
Chris Paul is known for some
fizzling out.
fizzling out, but this is
It was
a whole new
flat
level.
as shit, man.
Like, and it's not a good timing for that because like you went 2-0 up on the Bucks last year in the finals and lost 4 straight. Like, shit directly down your both legs. Like,
Yeah.
not awesome. You had redemption this year. Y'all talked a lot of shit in that Mavs series after you went up, and then they came back and that game 7 was embarrassing. I really thought we were gonna get a good game 7, and like after the second quarter, the halftime, we were both like, you want to watch this anymore?
Yeah, it was rough to see, man.
Just because like I like Devin and Chris and that whole team, and
Oh man, I
it's-
love him. Chris Paul, former Rocket,
awesome.
bless his heart. I think he's awesome.
we should have a
Devin Booker. I'm super interested in. That guy can shoot the ball, and like the way he can create and get to a shot.
DeAndre
is
Ayton
amazing.
played his last game in Phoenix.
Maybe
Well,
plays last game in Phoenix,
in
but
a Phoenix jersey.
I've been an Ayton boy since day one. I love DeAndre Ayton.
he's a fantastic center.
I think he has the ability to be such.
I just think the Suns did him wrong, not extending him at the beginning of last season. I
Yeah,
think that's-
they have one of the worst owners in the NBA. I mean, guys just historically does not want to
Absolutely.
pay for his teams.
his own management, his players want him to sell the team. They're like, we're done with this guy. I think there was like a report came out too that he had some controversies,
Yeah.
and I think his own team and like people are like crossing their fingers, like, come on, please sell him. The last thing I want to say, listen, before we move on, because we need to move, but you can kind of tell they were starting to fizzle out against the Pelicans. Honestly, I saw like the Pelicans were pushing you, the 36-win Pelicans,
Yeah.
and it's like, maybe they just kind of slipped up. They were playing down to their the talent, like the Warriors do a lot of times. No, they came pretty obvious that they just didn't come to play like they usually were. But from the Suns, we'll move on to a team that didn't even make the playoffs nor the play-in, which will be the New York Knicks. Now, I'm a big Knicks fan. Thank you, Knicks, go Knicks. It is a heroes. You need a heroes medal if you cheer for the Knicks at this point. Thank you. Yeah, we're gonna win a championship eventually. They're not my favorite team, but like I'm a big D Rose guy. I like RJ Barrett. I think he can grow into a great like shooting guard one day. Julius Randle, I've always said give him time and he'll do it. And last year I was like, Yeah,
Yeah.
he did it.
Yeah,
Like
he
a tear in
did.
my eye.
No,
and then I watched
was
this
so happy for Julius Randle
because
What
we were big baby LA boys.
Yeah, I liked the baby LA guys, and I'm happy that all of them are doing really well. And dude, I am. I don't know what happened, man. It's rough.
Inefficient. The whole team. They lost their defense identity. That's the big one. You watched their game, they were just sloppy on defense. The team had some injury issues. Mitchell Robinson just doesn't. I don't know. Like
I have no idea how to judge
he's the
him.
most confusing. He's the most confusing player on that team. Did you want to be there? Do you not? You're injured. I love Nurls. You re-signed Nurls.
Yeah, also injured.
Sadly, once again, the Kemba experience does not pan out, and that just sucks. He had to get benched, and then Derrick Rose gets injured, so now you're down two guards. Like,
yeah, and you're having to play your best wing as a guard, Alec Burke.
absolutely,
Not
and
your
then
best wing, but
RJ Barrett didn't have a disappointing season. Really turned it on at some
Barrett's
points.
your best wing.
Yeah, but he was very streaky at times. At times, Alec Burke did look like the best wing on that team.
Yeah, well, and Alec Burks is like a really good secondary playmaker for him. I really like him off the bench.
No, absolutely.
And having to move him to your starting point guard.
Obi Toppin and Quickly really didn't make big jumps this year. My big takeaway from this team this year was not enough growth from the young players and too much digression from your veterans. And maybe you don't move on from Thibodeau as your coach, but like he needs to bring him back in that defense because that's where their identity was. That's why they made the playoffs last year. Did Trae Young kill the Knicks?
Yeah.
I mean, wait.
I would really like to see a move for Randall and Ayton.
I thought we've talked about that. That sounds like a phenomenal trade for both sides.
Yeah, I think maybe something like Randall and Robinson for Ayton
Yeah.
would be really awesome.
Randall being the third option to Paul and Devin Booker would be an amazing role for him. It opened up his shots because a big thing about him.
Maybe in that trade they could also grab either Noel or Robinson to play that traditional big.
No, for sure,
for
absolutely.
them. But having another playmaker and also just another scoring threat for, I mean, sure, Julius Randle is the most consistent person, but like if you can get him or Chris Paul to go off.
Yeah,
then,
you give Randall like that Wiggins role almost.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like that's the same kind of archetype player.
Yeah,
you're looking
he's
at there.
he's backup just in case either Curry or Clay are hitting
There
the
you
shots.
go. Or Jordan.
Or Jordan at
Full at this
times.
point. But so that's enough to me about crying about the Knicks. Go New York, go New York, go. Thank you. It sucks. Fuck Trae Young. That's how the Knicks in me. But let's go on to your next team.
Bulls.
Oh.
Yeah, man.
That's how their season went. Very exciting at the beginning.
Yeah,
and then they started dropping like flies, man.
They are the inverse of Boston. And the whole thing is like
Exactly.
It hurt me in particular because a lot of people were shitting on them the moment they got DeRozan, and I was just so like happy for them. I was like, DeRozan is such a great pick.
People really forgot because he like spent those
that
2
guy-
years on the Spurs where like he really didn't. That Spurs team was just kind of
the Spurs just weren't a
there.
good team. They were very quiet. It's a small market, and so a lot of people didn't see him play. The guy was still playing great. He wasn't scoring as much, but he was asked to handle much more of a playmaking
average
load.
7 assists a game, most in his career.
Yeah, so the Bulls just end up getting this version of DeRozan that's also a highly dynamic playmaker, and I'm like, not to mention the mid-range.
He shot some threes this year too.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter, man. That mid-range.
It's just maybe the best mid range in basketball.
Right
Up there
now-
for sure, top 3.
Yeah, right now. I mean, just the way he gets elevation and gets to that shot.
That's
I mean, you
awesome.
just were watching him in this run this year, and you were like,
He got MVP votes and good and
a
well
James
deserved.
Harden level unbelievable shit at times.
For sure.
you
Those
know?
back-to-back nights where he hit game-winning threes,
Yeah.
like
Absolutely.
led that team. But and you got Alex Caruso. People are like, that's a good move. I really like that. A lot of people are like, the Lakers fucked up there. You should have kept him.
Grabbing Caruso was a good move. Getting Lonzo, I mean, and just really stacking up this team in a really awesome way.
Vucevic was there.
Yeah, Vucevic was there, and damn, you want to talk about inconsistencies?
When he looks good though, he's a great option.
Losing
for
Patrick
them.
Williams really sucks. I really don't know about DeRozan and Williams on the court at the same time.
There's just not enough space.
but they just.
And Kobe White's gonna be off the team, right?
I just think they need a four with some more size and some more length to if you're going to be running DeRozan.
No, for sure. But And Zach LaVine maybe on his way out. We can touch on that later. We've got that's going to come up in the news.
We'll see. I have hope.
I don't know where that came from, but I just don't believe that.
Yeah, I don't believe that either. But we'll see.
If that team gets healthy, because before they got injured, that team was looking like they could go and win the East. Like LaVine drops, Caruso gets brutally assassinated by whatever his name is. I forget his name. Grayson Allen. Fuck that guy. Dude's an asshole. But yeah, I think the Bulls can have a great bounce back season next year, and I'm excited to watch them. I think that team has a lot of untapped potential. But going from there, let's move on to my second team. I apologize. And that would be the Utah Jazz. Yeah.
Jazz.
I think they are the most what I would call, like, if you looked up the word mediocre in the dictionary, that's what you would get.
Yeah,
It's,
they are.
I
The problem is
don't even know what to start. Like,
they made a really good 2019 basketball team. They made a team that had a bunch of guys that were shooters. They could defend the perimeter.
Quotation mark.
No, but they could.
They could.
I mean, when they signed all these guys,
that's true.
When they signed Joe Ingles and Bojan Bogdanovic, and
It was really good then. You're absolutely right. I apologize. It was good.
That was some excellent perimeter defenders
you had
to put
Depoy-
next to your number one scoring option. And Donovan Mitchell was this dynamic scorer, and then you have your defensive cornerstone and the Stifle Tower himself, Rudy Gobert, and you're like, you know what? I still don't believe in this team.
I never gave them a chance. You're just like, you know what? You're looking good. You'll be out the second round.
There's no way you're getting past the second round, and they didn't. And now that same team is aged
So bad.
so poorly.
And like, it kind of sucks because, for a while we were big Rudy Gobert haters on that. And I still think maybe he's gotten a couple too many depoys, but
he's
but
definitely
it's not
gotten too many depoys, and he definitely should be making as much money as he is.
But that system, I call it the inverse of the D'Antoni Rockets 7-second, where your defense works fantastically in the regular season, but when you get to like the playoffs where it's a chess battle between coaches and like all these pieces are moving, you got to go small.
You're not willing to
you got to go small. Rudy Gobert's getting attacked, and
You
and
have to be able to adapt.
And like, really, like, I feel bad for Gobert because Mitchell and Conley was not giving him any perimeter help either.
No, not at all.
Like, fair on the Jazz, they got Brunson paid this summer.
Yeah.
They got Brunson paid.
mean, they were just getting blown by play after play after play.
And Brunson would hit these little middies.
And Gobert's not going to be able to like fix everybody's mistake all the time.
He's not fast.
He can't close out that way, and he shouldn't be expected to.
No. His job is to block shots and like lock people down in the paint. Like, that's his thing. He's not supposed to be switching on all these people.
But that's why they expect him to be able to close out the lane every play, and that's why if you put a smaller center who can shoot the ball on him, that guy is going to be open every time.
Absolutely, and that's what the Mavs did.
They don't have a perimeter defender who's going to help and swing and get onto his man.
No, absolutely.
That just doesn't exist in their lineup.
Yeah. So another team, like, I just don't think they like, they just can't get. They can't make it to the conference finals. They can't get out of the second round. They got beat by a Kawhi-less Clippers team last year. I just think they need I think it's time they blow it up. I really think it is. But we'll move on to them to your second team.
Third team.
You started this one. I apologize. You're third and last.
My third and last team is another very obvious one. Because this is the first time a LeBron James-led team hasn't made the playoffs since 2003.
That, or I mean, if you don't count his first Laker year where he was out.
Well, yeah, I don't
because he was out of that. He was
I don't
out.
really count the first Laker year because of all the injuries.
This one, he was fairly healthy.
LeBron
Carried as hard as he could.
It was good, and he stopped playing at the end because of soreness or injuries or whatever. But like, I think they just
we don't got a chance. Shut him down.
Yeah, no. Why would you
go start your cryotherapy early? We're gonna get you ready for next year.
Go get into the pod early.
Bring AD with you and get him some high tops. God, get him something going on.
Yeah. You and AD go sit in y'all's like cryo chambers and try to figure this shit out.
Like, it sucks because 11 seed.
Yeah.
You didn't even make the play-in.
It just, if you look, and we'll wrap this up quick. I'll make it really simple, and it's as simple as this: if LeBron James is on your team,
you got a shot.
You got to make the playoffs. if your team can't make the playoffs with LeBron James playing over half the games,
There's a problem.
then you're fucked.
Yeah. There's something wrong. What would your record be if he wasn't on that team?
Ex-
That's the thing. What's your
Exactly.
record then?
Absolutely.
He dropped 30 points a game. If he would have played
yeah.
like 5 more games, he would have won a scoring title at 37
This
years
is an
old, 38
old
years
man.
old. Well, this old man's different.
Yeah,
It's like
he
he
is.
built different.
Yeah, he is.
You could have had DeRozan. You could have had Buddy Hield. You settled for Russell Westbrook, and it bit you in the face.
Yeah.
Winning time was pretty good, though.
Winning time was good.
So the Lakers did something right this year. And we'll move on to them to, if the Lakers aren't the most obvious, then it's this one, and it's the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah.
Their big three, to me, it's the biggest what could have been big three of all time. Because I don't want to say they sucked. When they were all three on the court together, like, defensively, not good. Offensively,
What was the record when they all were played together? It was like 27-3.
it was
Right?
stupid.
Yeah.
It was stupid.
It was comical. The problem is they played 2 whole seasons and they barely all played together.
I don't blame Harden for winning out. You know, a lot of people are gonna hate on him again.
Yeah.
I'm a big Rockets fan. Grew up a Rockets fan.
Yeah.
Harden, I'll always have a special place in my heart. And people were like, he gave up on that team. No, he was promised a role like, hey, you don't have to carry a team like you were doing every night anymore.
This isn't going to be Houston.
It became Houston scary fast.
Really quickly. They're like, hey, so all that shit we talked about, like, this isn't Houston. You don't have to carry the whole team yourself. Not everything's on you. That was a lie. Kyrie just doesn't feel like it. And KD is still injured.
Because we said that like a liar.
You know, like a liar.
That Kyrie, listen, everyone has their opinion with Kyrie, but at the end of the day, you did let your team down.
Big time.
He averaged 27 points a game this year, which is awesome on great efficiency. I have his numbers over here. I can pull it up in a minute, but that's great and all. But what does it matter if you play 15 games a year?
Yeah.
Like, and you're tearing your team chemistry because you're in the news all the time. You've basically also said that basketball is not your number one priority.
Yeah.
And I get like you're doing all this stuff for your community, and I respect that. But there's got to be some give and take with your team. Like they paid a lot for you. They gave up a lot. They don't have a future. If you walk this offseason, they have questions, and you let that team down. You let Kevin Durant down, who you considered a friend. And I just think that team really had some disappointment. But that's your 3. That's my 3, right?
Yeah, let's move on.
So let's move back on to a positive side. 3 players that surprised you this season. Would you like to start, my man?
Yeah, I want to switch this up a little bit. I'm going to name all 3 of mine, and then I'm going to give you my, like, elevator pitch. Let's put it this way. This is this is what I'm turning the exercise into. I am some weird stat head you ran to an elevator. You're a GM of a team, and I'm trying these 3 guys. I'm telling you why. Like, hey, you need to look into them. All
I like that, and I'll throw that back at you. I think I like the way that is.
All right. So what we got here? Miles Bridges.
Ooh.
Ooh. We're talking about a guy.
I like the thought of just like you're in an elevator, just random guy. You're like, hey man,
Miles Bridges.
The guy's like, you get it.
Yeah.
You get it. Sorry.
The guy's had his breakout season this year, but the whole thing is, I personally don't think this is
his ceiling. It's not.
I'm not even sure if this is really the breakout. Like,
You think it's gonna keep going? Like it's bigger.
Like I feel like this is Jaw's second year where you're like, oh, that's better and that's really good. That's awesome. You're definitely,
And then you get another breakout.
and then you have a breakout, and you're like,
not even his final form.
well, yeah,
Not even his final form.
yeah. I don't think he's gonna be like a 27-7-7 guy or some shit like that.
That'd be crazy.
Crazy. But
Still wouldn't get coverage because you play in Charlotte.
Yeah,
and that's why this breakout season didn't get a lot of coverage.
yeah,
sadly.
exactly. But I feel like this is a guy who is consistently going to be able to give you an effective and efficient over 20 points a night.
Yeah.
And he's going to get you over 5 rebounds. And he's an awesome forward to have on your team.
Sure.
And he's hyper athletic. The shooting has gotten tremendously better. And the all around just hustle and attitude is a huge shift.
Mm-hmm.
I think this guy is on his way to just like a dynamite career. For sure. Oh yeah, so Miles Bridges, man. But like, if you're not going to get Miles Bridges, you should look at that young center that Houston previously didn't have time for.
Talk about the wizard.
Yeah, I'm saying, if you haven't watched the Rockets play,
I don't blame you.
I don't blame you. They were very bad this year, but you missed out. Not only seeing some really crazy stuff from Jalen Green, there were some really great KPJ games in there. There was some really good Kenyon Martin games in there.
Some good Christian Wood games in there.
Some good Christian Wood games in there. But what you're really missing out on, man, is, let me tell you, Alperen Sengun. This guy, I thought was going to get picked top 10 last year. He dropped. Raphael Stone made the move and got him at 16.
We moved up for him. We traded things.
Well, I mean, we just traded for that pick.
How could he fall to us? I say us again. Sorry. Quick backstory. Cole and I, big Rocket
Both
fans.
Rockets
We just have
fans.
to do that.
Well, the reason he dropped is because he's a foreign player who didn't get as much coverage in the media, and also he didn't speak a lick of English.
And that hurts your team.
That makes your team.
But you know what he does speak?
Draft stock drop.
He speaks basketball, and that's way too apparent already.
Oh man, I'm telling you.
Like, I don't know if this is overpraised, but I'm gonna say it because I think he may be my favorite Rocket. I went to 7 games this year, and every game I went to, it was something different with him. Like, whether it was passing, scoring. I went to the game where he bullied LeBron in the paint a little bit in that Lakers game I got to go to, and I was like,
Lakers
this is awesome.
game is legendary. That was awesome.
I got to watch the King live in person. I won't get into that, but it was truly my favorite basketball experience I've ever had. Sengun played great. Jalen Green hit like 3 threes back-to-back to bring the game back. But Sengun, it's something different every night. You need passing, he'll run the offense. You need scoring, he can get in there, and he'll get his own rebounds. He'll put it in there. It's like watching.
Cares.
It's
you
watching.
Just tell he cares. The hustle is there. And the biggest issue with this guy, well, there are 2 big issues, and I don't think they're going to be issues for long.
No.
One, I'll say this one first because this is really what it stems down to. He's just not in NBA shape yet.
No.
He's playing.
He looks funny.
Yeah, I mean, like, realistically, he's his conditioning is just not NBA level.
Yeah.
He's coming over from the EuroLeague, and the athleticism isn't the same.
No, for sure, absolutely.
But that can be addressed, and that's going to be addressed. I mean, he didn't get as many minutes this year as maybe he could have gotten. The Wood trade opens up a lot of minutes for him. But also, like, I don't know if he could have handled those minutes, really.
No, for sure. I understand where they're coming from.
He fouled out a lot, and a lot of the fouling...
It's the Euro thing.
Well, and a lot of the fouling is just not being equated to this pace of game.
For sure, absolutely.
But after an off season with an NBA team and coming back...
Working with Hakeem. Hakeem is also very high on him. You know, a lot of times you see, like, people will be like, when players work with, like, younger players, like, oh, yeah, they're great. But I truly, like, believe it when Hakeem says this. I truly believe, like, this. When I watch Sengun, the first thing I think of every time, I promise it is, he's not afraid to shoot the 3. It's not there yet, but he's going to get there. He's not afraid to shoot it. I just feel like I'm watching the next Jokic. I just feel it in my bones.
His post game is so awesome.
Before we move on to the next player that you're about to get into, isn't it exciting to, like, instead of, like, being like an almost contender every year, we get to watch a rebuild? Like, I thought I would hate it. It's kind of fun watching these young guys grow.
Fun.
It's awesome.
It's been super
really
fun
exciting.
and painful.
But, like, you know, at some point I just kind of chuckles, like, when we lost that last game to the Nets and the Magic won, I was like, yes, we got our pick.
It's going to mean so much when, in 2027 when we win the championship.
So who else are you trying to pitch at me, strange man in elevator?
Well, man, if he's available, which he just made a move, so maybe it isn't, but I don't know what you've seen, what CJ McCollum looks like when he's playing his God-given position of point guard. Let me tell you, this guy,
man,
I knew he was a great shooter. But he was so lackluster in defense, I didn't know if it ever really made sense. And then maybe it's because I just didn't notice it. Maybe it's because of my own biases. But when he went to the Pelicans and you got to see what his ability is as a playmaker, using the space that he warrants as a shooter to get guys open, he made that Pelicans offense kick it into another gear.
I mean, they made the playoffs. They won the play-in.
Well, they looked great in the playoffs, man. They literally did.
They made the Suns sweat, and that's big.
Considering the guy who's supposed to be the best player on your team hasn't played in over a year, you look tremendously awesome.
And he helped Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram looked good that season. Again, I think Brandon Ingram's a phenomenal player, but he he needed the help, and they went and got CJ, and that duo, them two together, was nasty.
Really awesome.
Woof.
Really awesome.
I'm excited to see them. I hope they keep him for the long run. I hope that Zion gets healthy.
I hope also I would love to see what he looks like next to Zion. He just
I was about to say, have you seen the new like commercial Zion just did with Nike?
Yeah.
He's shredded.
Yeah,
It's gonna be scary. I'm excited for that
I've been
team.
seeing all the stuff he's been posting. He looks like he's in shape and ready to play some ball, and I'm excited to see it.
Kind of want to cop some of his Naruto stuff if it wasn't so freaking expensive.
Yeah.
But you've pitched me your 3 players, and I got 3. And my first one is you should get Scotty Barnes on your team.
Yeah.
If you can get Scotty.
Yeah.
Rookie of the year. And I think much deserved. You know, there's an argument, of course, for Mobley, Cunningham, Jalen Green.
Yeah. Let's be realistic. I don't think the arguments for Cunningham and Green are really there.
You know, just give me a Rocket. Give me a Rocket.
Well,
It's jabs more of a joke.
I'm saying in terms of this season.
No, it wasn't.
Just, I can hear the Mobley argument.
No, that's the only one. The Green one was really just a joke. That's not happening.
Yeah.
Maybe second half Rookie of the Year. You can get that. But no, anyway, Scotty Barnes, Rookie of the Year. Coming into the season, my biggest question was, why would you pick him at 4?
Right.
4? Jalen Suggs on the table. Scotty Barnes doesn't have a bag. Yeah, he's got good defense, but what's his offensive bag? He can't play offense. Well, I don't know, averaging 15 points a game on 50% from the field. I don't know. Probably has a bag there, you know. Adjusted so well. His three-pointer's not there yet. It's 30%. But he's going to keep growing, and I don't see him, like, stopping. I see him getting better. He's got a great work ethic. He's funny. He didn't let that atrocious all-star mini game ruin him. That was because when you watch something like you think, oh yeah, you're not gonna have a good second half of the season. He turned it up. It was fun. He's a great guy. You listen to him talk. Very smart, young, and I think if you can build a team around him, he could be scary. And if you can get Scotty Barnes on your team, you know, another one that'd be pretty cool is who I think should have won the MIP, and that's Jordan Poole.
Oh yeah.
The biggest thing I could say is this Warrior team's really good, you would say, right? You know,
yeah.
They maybe just won a championship, big whoop, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. He stepped up and he was a go-to option on the championship team.
Yeah.
That you don't just get that.
Yeah.
Like he's in a great system, but you got to be good to be like, hey, you get shots over Clay some nights because you're on fire.
Yeah.
The beginning of this postseason, while Steph was healing, Steph came off the bench and Jordan was lighting him up. Like that team was scary. Jordan Poole was a big part, and like I said, he should have walked away with the MIP.
Yeah, I mean, Poole is another testament to what a great franchise the Warriors are at developing young talent. And
absolutely.
I mean, to
You're
develop
right.
someone like Poole into what he is,
Mm-hmm.
you know, obviously a lot of that is on him buying in to their system.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, understanding when Kerr tells you these things, that he's coming from a place of real experience and taking those things to heart, emulating everything that Steph Curry does.
Will only make you better.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, brief side note, and this is a little bit of a rabbit hole, so I apologize.
No, for sure. No worries.
I was reading an interview with Anthony Edwards, and they asked him about what was his welcome to the NBA moment. And he actually says it was during his workout, pre-draft workout with the Warriors, because Kerr said, "You tell me you can't go faster?"
I watched that.
Yeah, and he was like, and so they kept running, and he started getting tired because they had been working out for however long, and he was like, "You don't have more in you?" And he looked at him and he said, "You gotta understand, what I'm going through is what Steph and Clay do every day. Mm-hmm. Like this is just how those guys would get ready."
Absolutely. Oh yeah.
And I think Anthony Edwards, that completely changed his mind on like his work ethic.
But that's a hard system to buy into.
Which
so you got to be
also,
mentally
Steve
tough
Kerr
to
did
be
that,
in that.
and Anthony Edwards is now just a freaking monster.
Absolutely. You have to have a strong mindset to buy into the system and make it. James Wiseman, I know he has injuries, but at the same time, he's been out for a while. I don't think he can cut it on that Warriors team.
Yeah.
But Jordan Poole improved everywhere this year. Points went up, points per game went up, rebounding per game went up, assists went up. Defensive, he was better. He was a menace. Shooting got more efficient. He's just a great overall player, and you should get him. But if you're not getting those two, that guy you're talking about who, if he could go faster or not, well, he did. And I think you should get Anthony Edwards on your team.
Yeah. Dang straight you should.
I know we talked about it a little bit earlier, but I'm going to go in on it real quick. Before this season, I was like, this, not a joke, but he's a jokester. Like, this is just a clown. Like, yeah, he's got all the athletic ability in the world, but how is he going to get better? I feel like he's just like, his ceiling's so high, but he doesn't want to jump for it. Like, he would just be like complacent, and I couldn't have been farther from wrong. Like, that was bad. That was so.
No.
It's a bad take because he came out this year and he proved he was a leader. He
had his high motor. He's highly invested.
His first playoff series of his career, that's when I really was like, this. He just put the team on his back and was like, I'm leading y'all every night. Y'all follow me. And to be 20 years old and tell your team, follow me, I'm going to beat these veterans and really push people.
He's going to go so far out of him with his hyper competitive mindset and combination of his athletic gifts and the way he's developed and worked on that shot. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's what more to say. I could see him being a easy contender for first team every year, for like all team first every year. I think the sky's the limit, and now I think he wants it and he's jumping to it. But now, while we're on the same elevator, why don't you tell me 3 people I should stay away from?
Yeah, mine are going to be, 2 of mine are pretty obvious. And I'm not going to even say stay away from, but
it's just more disappointing teams. That was kind of harsh.
Yeah, well,
there is one.
There's 2 of mine that you should just stay away from. The other one you can
Yeah. But go ahead. Let me hear it.
You should not trade for Russell Westbrook at this point.
I think most teams who have regret it.
I understand that you might be like, wow, he's pretty affordable right now. Except he isn't, because
he's making
the amount of money versus what you were getting and the way he might be tanking your chemistry is just not worth the investment. The Houston experience with Russell Westbrook was rough. The Wizards, I think all Wizards fans regret it, even if it looked cool for a little bit, because that's how he gets you. It's rough, man. Don't do it.
Man, when we traded for him on the Rockets, I was like, oh, this could work. And about halfway through the season, I was like, this is not working.
Yeah.
Roku at the 5 was funny. Yeah, Russ is a anomaly just because one of the most athletic men to ever play basketball. Yeah. Like a 20, almost 30-point triple-double average for a season. What else is to say? He's going to go down as a top 10 point guard all time. He's got everything you needed from him. He gives everything to the game. He tries his hardest. This is mean, but he's not the smartest basketball player. At some point in the game, you could be tied with 2 minutes left, and he's like, 30-foot three-pointer with 18 seconds on the shot clock. And you're like, no, Russ. And he's like, well, I got you. And he bricks it, and you're like, okay. Thank you so much for that. Or, hey, game's tied in the playing game. Russ, just get the ball up court. He goes, I'm going to kick it out of bounds. It's like, okay. Okay. That's cool. And with all that being said, then the Lakers are like, you know what? That's like that toxic boyfriend. I could change him. Yeah. I could change him. You didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I want to say he won't be on the team this next year, but if you look at him, I wouldn't want to trade for him. Yeah. Sadly. And that just sucks because this is a former MVP, former guy. We were like, this is best point guard in the league. Those knees went out on him. Those are highly explosive point guards, man. When the knees start going, you probably want to stay away from. And that's mean to say, but it's true. But who else should I maybe be
Don't
weary
get Kyrie Irving, man.
That was one of mine. Let's collab on this one. For sure.
I just think I don't know. He's like the biggest question mark that's ever existed. You're going to look at his numbers and the production he gives you, particularly some nights, and you're going to be like, this guy's fucking just amazing.
Would you like to hear his numbers this year?
Yeah.
Don't mean to interrupt you. Sorry. 27 points per game, 4 rebounds a game, 5.8 assists. Let's round it up. 6 assists a game, 1.4 steals, shot 47% from the field, 42% from 3, and 92% from the free throw line.
Yeah, why wouldn't you max that guy up immediately?
Would you like to know how many games he played this year?
Yeah.
I believe 15.
Yeah.
Maybe more than that, but
yeah.
He dropped 60 this year. Let's not forget that part.
No, he's amazing at basketball. I just think he's not great to have on your team. And that sucks, but I think that's just where we're at, or at least where I'm at.
And now this is where my notes here I had, it was has all the potential in the world, but basketball is not his number one priority. And that's not me making that up. He said that. And I get it. Like, he's doing a lot for his community. He's an activist. And, like, I respect everything. I respect that so much. But you have a job to do. And you committed to that team. And they committed to you and gave you everything you wanted. You signed with the Nets first. They went and got KD for you. Yeah. They went and got Harden to help y'all get over the hump. You kind of spit in their face with all that, man. And I just think he has his beliefs and everything. And you can't dock a guy for his beliefs or anything. But
yeah,
you let your team down. And at the end of the day, your handling is bad. And you're about to leave this team hanging and leave KD hanging because you're going to leave because
you suck.
Yeah, because you're just the worst. No, play more basketball. Like, if you play more games, you would be easily a top 10 point guard, if not top 5. You have the handles and everything, but your disappointment is you're gone. Like, you're just not there. But that's your second one, right? Do you have a third one for me?
Yeah, my third one's Chris Paul.
And he didn't even have a bad season. It's just
the playoffs were just rough, man. It was
except for that one game where he shot 14 for 14.
Yeah,
and then you follow that up with,
dude, I just because he can do it. You know it's possible.
Cole.
He is amazing. He's an amazing, incredibly talented basketball player who is one of the greatest IQs that's ever graced a basketball court. The guy is a maestro. He's a genius. But every fucking time his team gets close, something happens.
He said, "Hey man, I pooped." Like what? I pooped it.
I pooped it.
I didn't do it. We were up 2-0. Yeah, that was crazy, right? That was fun.
It was crazy.
Hey, that's the Mavs with only Luka. You can beat him, right? Nah. Remember how we almost did? I was kidding.
Yeah.
Oh no, it was the mysterious quad injury.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
But well, like same with the Rockets here. Plus, we've seen it firsthand on like sitting there. Like we left that party early because we just didn't want to watch the Rockets anymore. We just wanted to go home.
Yeah.
It was terrible to watch. Next year after that, he gets traded to the Thunder. Has a great career renaissance with all that. That wasn't the next year. Next year we just didn't. We underperformed again and got knocked out by the Warriors. Yeah.
That's our thing.
That was our thing around that time. I get it. He goes to the Thunder, has a career renaissance, get knocked out by the Rockets in that playoffs. Goes to the Suns, makes it to the finals. Go up 2-0, shit down your leg. Go up 3-2 on the Mavericks this year, shit down your leg. You can't shoot 100% in a game and have like no turnovers and then walk into this next series and have more turnovers and points at one point when you're Chris Paul. You just can't. And that was your 3. Anything else you want to say about Chris Paul before I move on to mine?
No.
So I only have it's so depressing. I don't want to talk about it. I only have 2 because we covered
Kyrie, right?
Yeah, we covered Kyrie together, which is fine. My first one, and again, this one hits close to home because he is one of my favorite players in the league, and that is Julius Randle.
Yeah.
Yes, hold your applause. Yes, being a Julius Randle Knicks fan is hard. Pray for me. Thank you. You win the MIP. You get maxed, not maxed, close to max.
A
lot of money.
Let's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. It is not a max.
No.
It is, I think, honestly, a good price for the player that I think he actually is. Just this season was not good for the Knicks.
Inefficient. He dipped hard. He averaged 24 points a game. That dropped to 20. And when you look at the numbers, it's because the big one, like the field goal percentage, it did drop 5%, 46 to 41. That happens sometimes. What shouldn't happen is your 3-point percentage dropping 10% from 41 to 31. Yeah, that's where it happened. Rough. Not a lot of things changed on that team. Not a lot of no training staff, no coaching. That was just you didn't play well. Yeah. That's just what it is. Comes down to. It hurts my heart to say because he is one of my favorites, but you're gonna get traded before long, and you'll start arguing with your fans, start getting a little upset about things, and man, you just gotta prove them wrong. That's You're playing in Madison Square Garden every night, like that's your people. You need to figure it out, and you need to be the lightning bolt on that team. You're a big reason why that team underperformed. Yep. I love him to death, but that's just sadly what it was. So my next one was Kyrie Irving. We already covered him. My last one, and some people might find this as a weird one, but I do think he disappointed me, and that's Donovan Mitchell.
Okay, yeah.
You look at his numbers. You watch with the eye test. He really hasn't gotten better. Maybe just less turnovers and more like maybe better fundamentally.
He
but
leaves you wondering. You're
like you were the 13th pick. And
this was exciting when you were your second year in the league.
No, for sure. But it's like it's getting old. You need to take that next step to stardom. You were supposed to be there. Jason Tatum took it.
Yeah.
Like you want to be the best out of your draft class. You were.
Yeah.
You've talked, and you're good. You're damn good. But you should be in the conversation of like, hey, that's the best shooting guard in the league.
Absolutely.
And he hasn't taken that step, and I think the Jazz are starting to get a little tired of that because he's lazy on defense. Like that system. I don't know if it's the system or if it's just him. Ooh. That was angry Jazz fans.
Yeah.
But you got to get better on the defensive side. You let your team down. Those 50-point games you were dropping against Jamal Murray and that Nuggets team, like going back and forward, fighting, like you were like the best player out there. We didn't get that this year. And you were getting defended by Jalen Brunson.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on with you. You need to turn it around. But he needs to take the next step, and he needs to get it going. If it's blowing up that team, maybe building something else around him. But I think not just rebuilding is going to help him. I think he needs to maybe – I don't know what he needs to do, but he needs to do something.
Yeah,
he needs to take that next step. I just hope that this isn't his ceiling. I'm worried that it is his ceiling. Like he hit it fast.
Yeah.
But I think
he needs to add some other facet to his game that is truly elite.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whether that's defense or that's playmaking or that's just being a hustle player and doing the little glue stuff, even if you are the star.
No, absolutely.
It's just the empty scoring is not going to be enough.
Exactly.
And I think it's awesome. I do think he's really good, and I think in the right team, he could make a lot of sense. And this Jazz team doesn't make sense for him right now, but just watching him play some of these games in the playoffs, it just felt like he quit.
For sure. It wasn't the same when we got against the Nuggets.
Yeah, well, this guy's going, him and Jamal Murray are going 50 points to 50 points with each other, and it's absolutely insane. It's like that's in there somewhere.
And you're not getting it right now. I don't know if he's upset with the team.
You just haven't seen it.
If him and Rudy Gobert aren't really clicking, like they're not really on talking terms. This all started when Rudy Gobert shut down the league. That was crazy.
Yeah.
And gave Donovan Mitchell. It's been a crazy ride for the Jazz. I think they blow it up, but I think Donovan Mitchell is part of the reason why they didn't go as far as they could. But that is our coverage of the disappointed players, the players that surprised us, the teams that surprised us, and the teams that disappointed us. So let's go into this was the now and the past. Let's think to the future.
Yeah.
Give me 3 predictions for the draft that takes place tomorrow.
Okay, I'm gonna rapid fire through these real quick. I guess this is a prediction, so I'm just gonna say it. I think Chet's gonna be a bust.
I love that.
Hey,
you said it with your chest. Someone had to say it. Someone had to say it.
Here's my thing is like we can only project where he's gonna be based on the players that are closest to what he is, which is very unique, very hard. They call them unicorns for a reason. Mm-hmm. You don't see a lot of it, but you look at guys like AD and what a young KP was. Really amazing. Those guys also have like 40 pounds on Chet, and also their careers are in the middle of being derailed by injuries.
Mm-hmm.
The guys that are up that size and that thinness don't always do well. There's no way he can play center in the NBA.
No.
That's right out.
People think like that's his position going to be. He's a 4 at best.
They think he's going to play 5. He has to play the 4 with a 5 who has some weight to him.
The first thing I thought of when they said that Chet could be a 5 in the NBA was, I want to see him play against Joel Embiid. Then come talk to me about that.
I want to see him play against PJ Tucker. Like how
right,
PJ Tucker's going to box his ass out. I'm sorry, the guy's 190 pounds.
Even people who are like, well, KD's like, what, 230?
Yeah, he's 240.
240. That's 50 pounds, guys.
Yeah. And KD looks scrawny as shit. All right. That's my whole thing. And people like his combination of size and shot blocking. And I get it. He's really special. And he can dribble and play make. I think if he can stay healthy, gain a little weight, this kid could be a one of one.
He'd be the best in this draft class.
True unicorn. A true absolute unicorn.
But looking at the numbers of these unicorns,
just projecting based on what we've already known, what we've already seen, I think, people call him White KD. I think it's more likely that he's White Mo Bamba. And nice. I don't, man.
It easily could be a bust. I would for sure take Paulo or Jabari above him.
Well, it's interesting that you say that. My second prediction for this draft is that Paulo will win Rookie of the Year.
Nice.
No matter what one.
He's the most NBA ready.
That take him. He's NBA ready. The playmaking is amazing. The mid range is there. He's a 250-pound, 6'10" athlete who can just dunk the basketball. At the end of the day, this game is about getting buckets. That's a quote from the still alive. The great Bill Russell.
And I think he won a couple rings, right?
Yeah, I think he won maybe 11.
Yeah, whatever.
Something like that. Yeah,
that's just true. Yeah.
I think Paolo.
So he's going Rookie of the Year on the Rockets, right?
Yeah, that's hopefully, man.
That's the prayer.
Am I last?
Paulo Banchero's 6'4" without shoes on.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, bring him down.
Yeah, bring that stock down.
But your third choice, I apologize. Go ahead.
Well, this third prediction is pretty general, and I probably don't have to go that in depth into it.
For sure.
This, I think when it's all said and done, this draft class will have less All-Stars than the last one. If you're going to tally up all their All-Star appearances, this draft is not going to be able to compete. Sure. I think the last year's draft with Green and Mobley and Cunningham and Barnes.
I think Jalen Suggs is going to hit it eventually. Just give him some time.
And Alp.
This is an awesome draft class. You've said it before, but yeah, go ahead.
I just think this is the generation defining draft class. I think this draft class is immensely. Last year's draft class is immensely talented and are going to be the 2003 draft class for this year.
I was about to say. So give me this. Give me one more fourth prediction. I'm going to ask you. I'll answer it too. After all the guys who are playing right now in last year's draft class, the Greens and everyone are retired and their careers are over. Will we be saying this is up there with the 84, 96, and 03 draft class?
I think so.
I think so too.
I think so.
There's just so much talent in this draft. Last year's draft class.
I think Jalen Green is going to be an elite scorer. I think Cade Cunningham is going to be an all-around great basketball player who has the potential to be a
30 points per game scorer.
Yeah,
straight up.
I mean, he just looks like he's one of those guys. He's gonna have a season where he's like, oh yeah, I put up a very efficient and casual 26, 8 and 8.
He'll join the 50, 40, 90 club.
Yeah,
I truly believe.
I mean, he's amazing. And then you also have Evan Mobley, who is a generational defensive talent. Looks like this somewhere it's like David Robinson and Tim Duncan
absolutely
fusion hard into this one young kid
Crazy.
Who hasn't fully put together it on the offensive side like those other guys did when they first came.
No,
in the
for
league.
sure, absolutely.
But his potential, I think, is just immense. And not to mention, Scotty Barnes is now the face of the Toronto Raptors.
One Rookie of the Year, and I don't think he's peaked. People are saying it was a mistake. I think he's going to keep getting better. Josh
Giddey looks like one of the best playmaking guards in recent years to come out of a draft, and we're talking about drafts that have guys like LaMelo.
Alperen Sengun, and I believe this. Maybe it's biased, but I think will one day be on a all team, whether it's first, second, or third. He'll make it.
I believe it.
I have so much faith in those guys. That whole draft class, not just the Rocket guys, but Cade Cunningham. I think
Duarte is going to be a solid 3-point contributor for years to come.
That team, Davion Mitchell.
Mitchell.
He could be like the next Drew Holiday. Is something I see
Williams,
with him.
Keon Johnson,
Josh Primo. He's got big hands. He's got big hands.
Joshua Primo's got big hands. Yeah, man.
Usman Garuba again. If you don't follow the Rockets close, you may not have seen him, but he's got great defense. There's a lot of fun guys.
Offense.
He does for sure.
Franz Wagner.
The Franz.
The Franz.
The Franz is pretty good.
The Franz is pretty good.
So that was. Did you go? Is that all three of yours? Yes. So I do agree with you that I think last year's draft class will have more All-Stars by the end of it. This year has a lot of guys that can be good second to third option and great role players.
Yes. It's just I think we level off to the point where teams are now picking guys who could one day be role players. I think we get to that point in this.
It's a perfect draft for the Rockets right now.
Faster. It is a good draft for certain teams. It's just like you're gonna see teams that are wanting to contend try to move out of this draft.
Absolutely,
it just doesn't have those guys in it.
Which will be one of my predictions. And may I move on to mine?
Yeah.
So I did a safe, bold, insane. It's like how I do my predictions. My first one is the safe, and there's nothing safer. It's Jabari Smith is the number 1 overall pick in the draft. Paulo's awesome. I think he's the most ready. Chet has the highest potential and ceiling to be like something amazing. Could easily flop.
Absolutely.
Jabari Smith, though, to me is just, if I had the number 1 overall pick, I think I would still take Jabari. As much as I do love Paulo and the fit on the Rockets, I think Jabari's the answer. I think he has five, like he's a 5-tool, 6-tool athlete, has everything in his bag, defense, offense. He just looks phenomenal. He looked good in the March Madness. I know that it wasn't the longest reign in the Madness, but he looked good. I have a lot of faith in him, and I think he's the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, not to mention those guards in Auburn were like trash.
Oh yeah, no, it was the same thing with Cade Cunningham, where like he was doing all this playmaking, but they couldn't hit the open shots for him.
Yeah, so and also like getting him into position and getting him his shots, because he is one of those guys who needs someone to play make for him.
No, for sure.
But when you talk about pairing him with so NBA level guards, it's enticing.
Now the Magic though, their guards aren't the best in the world with Markelle Fultz.
Yeah,
Jalen Suggs, Cole Anthony, and Jabari could be fun.
Yeah. I think the drive and dish game between Cole Anthony and Jabari could be really special.
Oh, dude, that transition was already fun watching last year.
And if Suggs can develop into that hard-nosed type player that I think he can be, he could look really special next to Jabari.
For sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
So my bold prediction for this draft is the Blazers trade the 7th pick for a win-now move. Now, it just broke today that they traded for Jeremy Grant. Sold scraps for him, actually. A Milwaukee 2025 first-round pick. You do that every day of the week. But like you said earlier, you really don't – if you're trying to win now, you don't need a draft in this class. Especially at the 7th. You might as well trade that and see if someone will bite and you get you another win-now move to help like capitalize on Damian Lillard. And I think that's what they're going to do. I don't know where they're going to trade that pick. There's a couple interesting packages out there. Maybe they can talk sweet talk maybe a DeAndre Ayton trade. I think that'd be a fun one. There's just a few out there, and I just think you got a good team with Dame, Anthony, Jeremy Grant now. OG Anunoby's a name out there, and that would be a great one for them, another young guy you can help build around. And I just think it'd be a good move if they traded out of that spot. They were hoping to get a higher spot, but with that 7th one and getting Jeremy Grant, I think you could do something with it. And now for my insane one, I think it's going to live up to the name. The Thunder get crazy and draft Jaden Ivey at number 2. That's why it's insane. That's why it's insane.
Yeah.
But you've heard the rumblings.
Yeah. It also just doesn't make sense for them.
Yeah, but
they have Shea Gilgeous and Josh Giddey.
Sam Presti.
Yeah, I mean,
that's why it's insane.
Fair.
I couldn't think of anything more insane.
Yeah, that's fair. Sam Presti is the guy.
But wouldn't it be interesting if they did it, and then the Rockets have to make the dreaded choice to pick out of the other two big guys? I just hope we make the
right choice.
We pray for those things.
We pray.
That was the bold prediction for the draft. Let's look even farther into the future with the 3 predictions for the NBA season.
Here's what I got. I'm predicting LaMelo Ball to have a real breakout season this year. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to finally eclipse 20 points a game.
Hey, if D'Antoni's his coach, too, that's going to be crazy for him.
Yeah, and then adding, not to mention the level of rebounding and assist and steals that he's
those
in the
passes he was doing, like Magic Johnson-esque, and that's high praise.
This is going to be the year where it really clicks for him in terms of, like, I mean, not that he isn't already an immaculate passer, but just producing consistently on the NBA level and also just scoring that ball more.
About getting buckets.
It's about getting buckets, and I think
he's got a bag on him already.
Yeah, he does. He does. Like, it's weird to say because he's already such a great player, but I think this is the year where
he can get better. He's just one of those guys like you can just I just don't see a ceiling for you, man.
Well, you just watch him play, and you can tell there is another level, and he flirts with it a lot. And often I feel like he flirts with it in different aspects of his game. Some days it's a playmaker, some days it's a scorer, some days it's a defensive presence, some days it's not being a defensive presence.
He's just there. He's there.
But it's just like when these things come together finally in a consistent manner, and I think it's going to be this year that it happens for him.
Quick question. Give me a prediction. Think LaMelo Ball could think he could bag a Kardashian?
Yeah, for sure.
He's got the dog in him. Sorry. Go to your next prediction.
My next one is I think the Lakers are going to be better this season.
It's not hard to be worse. Or it'd be hard to be worse.
Yeah, I think maybe that's why this is kind of a safe one.
No, it's a good one though because it's.
But I think even if their roster stays exactly the same, they will be better strictly for just health reasons.
You put Anthony Davis in some high tops.
They're gonna put him in some high tops, and also like hopefully this long off season can help their bodies really catch up. And we can see some of the real play that we know these guys are capable of.
Add this real quick without going down a rabbit hole. Does LeBron retire a Laker? Or does it depend where Bronny ends
I
up
think it
being
depends where Bronny goes. I think he is going to, at the end
That's what he wants at the end.
Yeah, at the end of the day, do that.
But I agree with you. I think the Lakers will be better. Do you think they'll be a playoff team?
Yeah.
Play-in or playoff? Do you think they can be a top 6, or do you think they're going to have to go through a play-in?
I don't know.
Depends on the moves.
It depends on the moves they make. If they stay the same, I think play-in's pretty easy. But as like the 6 seed should be attainable.
It should be.
Should be.
So give me Trace.
We're looking. Here we go. I predict the Pelicans will be a top 4 seed in the Western Conference.
That's bold. I like it.
Yeah, it is bold.
It's dirty. It's nasty. It's Pelicans, baby.
It's Pelicans. It's and I'm basing this off of how great they looked after the CJ McCollum trade.
And Zion.
And the fact that Zion Williamson, who is really good at basketball, is gonna be hopefully actually playing basketball, joining the team. He looks like he's in the best shape. He
doesn't look like Charles Barkley anymore, and that's big. That's big for you.
He looks as thin as he did, as fit, as in shape as he did when he was at Duke. He's that guy. That guy's an animal, man. And you're gonna add that to this team that I already think is very
even when
good.
He wasn't in that like top shape like he was.
Yeah, he was still amazing.
He was shooting like 66%.
He was still an anomaly. When in terms of how good he was at basketball,
you couldn't stop him.
And I think we
he shot threes too for a
this
while.
Team. And also just how they played so good in the playoffs.
You don't have to really change him. I think he'll slide in.
Looks like he is finally there to be that guy.
And like people were saying, Bi and Zion can't coexist. Like they'll have problems. I think they'll be fine.
I think they'll figure it out. And I think CJ McCollum is going to be that connective tissue. And
I wish it was Lonzo still, but hey, if it's CJ, I like CJ.
Yeah, I like CJ. I mean, I'm telling you, I think the Pelicans are going to make it click this year, and they're going to be a top 4 seed.
So add on to that for me. Top 4 seed, but what is their limit, playoff wise?
And next year, realistically, I don't expect them to make the finals.
Could they make a conference finals?
I think they could make a conference finals.
That'd be fun. Will they play the Rockets?
No. No, they probably play the Warriors and then lose.
Such is the West.
Such is the way of the West.
As much as the East that changes, the West is like Warriors. It's like, well, we're going to give you all the Celtics. That's a new one. It's like, get ready for this. Warriors.
More Warriors.
New Warriors with pool. Sorry.
New Warriors. All right, how about you? What's your 3 predictions?
This is my safe one. And I do consider this a safe one. Again, call me biased. But the Houston Rockets are at least a play-in team next year, meaning they will be a top 10 seed.
You consider that a safe one?
Yeah. They're going to be better than 5 teams.
Yeah, sure.
Saying that loud, it's a lot.
It's kind of a lot. And 5 out of 15, though. It's not 5 out of 30.
Yeah.
They'll
be better than the Kings. Be better than the Thunder. I truly think they could be better than both those teams.
I think they'll be better than the Thunder.
Think so? Yeah, for sure. You don't think they'd be better than the Kings?
I don't know. I don't know what I think the Kings have moves up their sleeves, though.
Yeah, so the Rockets. We're getting Kyrie.
Oh, fuck that. Okay.
To me, that is okay. My bolder one. So maybe we can swap these around. Yeah. But I think this is also bold because they still haven't done it in a while. The 76ers finally make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. They can get past that dreaded second round.
I like that one.
I think they're going to make it. I think James Harden's going to sign for less. I think he denied his player option, but with the intention that I'm signing for less.
Yeah.
Tyrese Maxey's a monster.
Yeah,
I love him so much.
Yeah.
I watched that game where he dropped 30 and just became a lightning bolt off the bench against the Raptors, like game 2 or something. Oh, Joel Embiid, he's kind of good at basketball.
He's really good. Yeah.
To go with this, I think next year he wins MVP. That's my. If I had to put money on right now, I think that's what I'd put it on. Barring injury,
so.
I love Jokic. I think Jokic probably deserved it this year, just how that team played, even without their other two stars. That made him the most valuable to me. But honestly, if Jamal and Michael Porter were healthy, Joel would have won it this year. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
James Harden's going to have a better year next year. He's going to actually be able to rest up this offseason, get him in shape.
Yeah, actually be able to work out.
Yeah, exactly. Go get him up some Philadelphia strip clubs.
Enjoy all that.
Always sunny, baby. Always sunny out there.
Sunny.
But I think, though, if you think that's the more safe one, we could switch that in the Rockets ones. But the Sixers will.
Yeah, I don't know if any of those are safe, but I'm into it.
Yeah. Well, this one's safe. Remember how before the season I said the Mavericks would win a playoff series? Yeah, how about they win the West?
That's
the most insane one, right?
That is bold for a team that now has Christian Wood on it.
My thought process is you made it to the conference finals with this. You keep that together without selling because you didn't have to sell for Christian Wood.
No, not really.
Now, do I think Christian Wood's the piece that put you in the finals? No. No, none of that. Yeah. But I think they have another move or two. Mark Cuban, awesome owner.
I think their
GM's great.
Yeah.
And I think if Luka's also is like, if I had to pick another MVP, I know you can only have one, but it's either gonna be Luka or Joel next year. And if that team keeps going, like stays healthy, gets another piece or two, what's stopping them? The other thing that stopped them was the Warriors, and it'd probably be the one that stopped them again.
Yeah.
But I think they could. But that is my 3 predictions for the next season. And with that, we have covered our first ever rule of threes.
Yep.
And you think we have want to go into a little bit of NBA news here?
Yeah, let's get at it. We'll run through these real quick and give everyone kind of a catch up of where we're at.
Dude, this has been a crazy week
of the NBA.
As I was typing up this news earlier, I was done. Finished typing. I was like, cool, I can print this out, bring the notes. I looked down at my phone, notification, trade. I was like, oh. It has been a crazy week. Before the playoffs were even over, we were getting news and trades. It's been awesome. But go ahead and give us our first one. Let's talk about it.
Well, let's drop. We'll talk about the Kyrie drama that's been going on. We have and the media's going insane. Is Kyrie going to leave? Is he going to re-sign with the Nets? Is there?
They're apparently at an impasse right now. Is the thing.
That is the report. They're of course the Lakers media argument is eating this up. Kyrie's on his way to the Lakers. That's
get your photoshops ready, baby.
Yeah. And what will KD and the Nets do next if Kyrie were to leave?
Well, what they're gonna do, I'll tell you. They're gonna get some young guys, maybe some trades for KD and stuff. They're gonna build a really good team. Probably be like a 7 seed. And, after they're starting to get draft picks, they'll probably trade them for some older stars, like 2 of them, and do the same thing they've done a third time in a row.
Yeah, and be stuck in limbo again.
Remember they had Jeremy Lin?
Yeah.
That was in the dark years right before the KD stuff, right before the D'Lo.
Yeah.
It's like
after the Darren Williams.
Yeah, after all that. Brooke Lopez is still your leading scorer in your franchise history. That's always fun.
Yeah.
I think that team just gets too big for their britches a lot of time. I think the management's like, cool, we were a 7th seed. We can get Kyrie and KD. Let's do that.
And that desperately want to be cooler than the Knicks.
Well, you don't play in the Garden, so I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're better than the Knicks.
Yeah.
But you got swept this year. Harden left. You and Kyrie are not going to sign. Kyrie's not playing for the Nets. I truly believe he's not. I think they trade KD this offseason if that happens. I think the domino that falls that really turns, like this free agency and everything's already going to be crazy. Kyrie leaves. KD gets traded the same offseason. It's going to be crazy. That's a bold prediction. There you go. That could have been. But
so we have all our Nets drama. But what about?
Can I ask you one more thing?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be kind of fun to see Kyrie and LeBron play again together in the yellow and gold? That would be crazy.
It'd be crazy.
Would it work?
It'd be fun. I don't know if it would work.
Someone dies.
Look, if you're talking about switching out Russell for Kyrie and you can make that happen, I would probably do it.
No, that I would for sure. I feel like LeBron could be like Kyrie, man.
At least Kyrie's going to give you really good production. Now, if you're talking about an efficient production,
yeah.
If you're talking about trading AD for Kyrie, don't do that. I wouldn't do that. I still think
they played the same amount of games, but
Yeah,
you might as well just take.
That's my thing. Is
one.
they played the same amount of games last year. At the end of the day, if I would roll the dice on having a healthy AD to pair with LeBron.
For sure. It would just be a better fit.
Also, LeBron and AD
They won a championship
historically.
together. Yes, I know.
Are amazing
Kyrie,
together.
I know Kyrie and LeBron won a championship together, but I think this LeBron we have now has a better chance of winning a championship with a healthy AD, than he does Kyrie.
I think so too. Where will Bradley Beal play next year?
The Celtics is the first name that always comes to my mind. Now, the report came out that he declined his player option, and then he tweeted, and I quote, "Huh? What?"
Yeah.
Like, with a laughy face.
Yeah.
And
But I also think he likes the drama.
well, he's declining it. I'm fairly certain, or it's a sign and trade. It's one of the two, but it's his choice because it's a player option. So if he wants out, he wants out. That's just how it is. He's best friends with Jason Tatum. They grew up together in St. Louis.
Yes. Yeah, no, they were childhood friends. I think the Celtics is a real easy one. There's some other teams that, might, the Cavs, the Trailblazers, might all be things he looks at. I know he's being heavily recruited by pretty much every team who maybe has the ability to sign him.
Like the Lakers.
Like the Lakers.
Yeah, that everyone's like, the Lakers pursuing. You can pursue all you want.
pursue all you want.
I can pursue Megan Fox all I want.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I'm going to win.
Yeah, I mean, because, I don't think the Wizards are going to get Russ back. And they have to take back they have to be willing to take back Russ or AD.
Hey, I have you
to
know,
do a sign and trade.
the Lakers have a $6 million mid-level tax exemption. So if you want to sign for $6 million, Bradley, you got a place in LA. You won't be able to afford a house or anything. But
no, I think the Celtics are the most likely.
you just came off a championship.
The Celtics or the Heat.
Or Eastern Conference. Yeah.
Celtics
Ooh,
or
the Heat would be
Yeah,
fun.
Celtics or the Heat, I think, are the most likely.
The Heat are shopping at everyone but Jimmy and Bam.
Yeah, they are. They're willing to make moves. Tyler Hero
You
for
do it-
Bradley Beal makes
I was about
sense
to say,
to
you
me.
do that trade.
Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, and Omir Yurtseven for Bradley
Oh,
Beal.
that'd be fun.
Yep.
But yeah, that's where I think. All right. Where will Zach LaVine play next year? Chicago.
Bulls.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't.
I
buy
hate
it.
I hate this report.
Yeah, I don't. Buy
Why would
it.
you want to leave? Like
I
I
understand.
just don't get it.
Yeah, I understand that their other teams are really into that. I would
No,
love
I'd be
to
into
have
that.
Zach LaVine. If I was the Blazers or the Cavs, Zach LaVine would be number one on my list. But I just don't see it. I don't think it's happening.
Why would he be unhappy?
No.
I don't see that. They can pay him. They can pay him all the money he
I
wants. He gets the.
I
he can
understand-
Get, he got birds. He can get the max.
I understand the season didn't end the way they were anticipating.
Injuries.
But him and DeRozan are such a good fit together.
You got Caruso and Lonzo with you.
And, like, that team is healthy and fully functional and maybe makes a couple more moves or adds a couple veterans. You could be looking at something different. Also, you should probably move Kobe White and try to get a piece in there.
Yeah, it's you should be thinking win now. And you can keep Patrick Williams as a young guy.
Yeah.
But you don't need Kobe White. Your backcourt is already so full of talent. You don't need
with the emergence of AO, you don't.
Oh, I love AO.
Yeah.
You have Caruso, who, in my opinion, barring Marcus Smart, he's probably the second best perimeter defender in the league, maybe third behind Drew. But that's my top three. The perimeter defenders in the league are Marcus, Drew, and Caruso. And like that off the bench with his like 35 to 40% from three, that's 3-and-D. That is what that is. So Zach LaVine should want to stay there. This one is one we've talked about a lot just in our lives over the last 2 years. What John Wall and the Rockets?
John Wall has picked up the player option
How,
as expected.
how dare you pick up that $47 million? You son of a bitch.
I mean, he's like
It's just-
$47 million. I'll go have to do anything. Bet.
It can be six man.
Yeah,
I'd let him be six man.
I'd be cool if he wanted to play off the bench for us.
That's the one problem though.
I don't think
did
he
not
does.
want-
I don't think he wants to come off the bench for the worst team
Listen.
in the NBA.
Yeah, last year, but then next year we're gonna be top 10.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we're gonna be top. We're gonna be top 14, 15.
you mean it?
We're gonna be top 15.
You
next
mean
year.
it?
I know.
We'll be better than some team.
We'll be better than the worst team.
We'll be second. No, we're top 10. I'm sick of it. No, but John Wall's a guy who can give you 20 and 7 a night, 20 points, 7 rebounds efficiently.
Yeah, I think there's a world where he puts up. I think maybe now in his career, if you could get like a more efficient, like 16 and 8 out of him.
And I think it's in him.
I think it's in him for sure. I don't think that those numbers are very attainable for him, and he'll have games where he's going to put up 28 points for you.
But the hard part is about the whole thing is
he's making $47 million,
and
which is just
I love John Wall. When he was on the Wizards, gang signed John Wall. He got that dog.
If
He's
John
a man.
Wall was making $24 million, every
You're gonna have to
team
buy him out.
would be giving us calls.
So we're gonna have to buy him out.
So we're probably gonna have to at least do a partial buyout so we can trade him.
But you know, if we got to, we have to.
I think that's what the Rockets should do.
And real quick before we move on, because we need to move, but if there was a trade, where would he be? If you thought the Celtics come to mind, they need a playmaker. He could be good there.
Yeah, the Celtics come to mind. Maybe they trade
the Bulls if they lost Zach LaVine, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be a bad move for them.
Yeah, well, and I think there's a lot of teams are wanting to make moves, and the teams that miss out might be interested in a discounted John Wall as a.
Here's a fun. What if he
backup?
What if he just took the highway north and just played in Dallas?
That'd be neat.
That'd be a cool one too.
That'd be neat.
I guess any team could use a efficient John Wall. I guess at this point, that's just
a $24 million John Wall makes a lot of sense. For
a win now team should be licking their chops at that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
But the next one, we got a couple trades here. Some of them have released today that I've just been reading about, and we're just going to kind of be like yes or no about them. Hawks are trying to trade John Collins before tomorrow's draft, maybe to move up or something. This has been coming for a while. I think out of most of these ones we're going to read, I feel like that's the one that's probably going to happen. Yeah,
I could see the Trailblazers getting in on that. I know they were trying to chop Collins in for Ayton.
I just think, that 7th pick, you throw that out there for John Collins. If you're the Blazers.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to get? Like, this draft just isn't super deep.
Yeah.
You know what John Collins is.
You get,
maybe roll
you
the
get
dice.
Nurkic to put with Capella.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
No. You would have to make it worth their while, and that kind of thing, you probably have to trade a young guy you don't want to.
Yeah, like Nizar Little in the 3rd pick.
Yeah.
But if you get to run Jeremy Grant and John Collins as your forwards/bigs,
that'd be fun.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, he may not be the best fit, but I guess maybe you could.
There's
trade.
other teams. Yeah. I think.
For sure.
I think the Mavs could be looking at him.
That would help their team having Wood and John Collins.
Yeah, you would run Wood in the center, and I kind of prefer Wood at the 4. But if you're running John Collins, that team would be so electric offensively with Luka running that show and Jalen Brunson.
It'd be fun. It'd be really fun. You probably have to trade Brunson for Collins.
Maybe you have to trade Brunson for Collins. We'll see. I buy him being on the market. I don't think he makes much more sense for the Hawks.
We'll know by tomorrow.
Yep, hopefully.
So that's going to be all the time we have today. So we got through our rule of threes. It's been an awesome first podcast. We're really excited to get it uploaded for y'all. We did record this today. That is going to be June 22nd, day before the draft. We are going to go ahead and record tomorrow night as well.
Yes, sir.
We're going to record our how we feel about the draft, who we got, or who everyone went. But, us Rocket fans are going to be excited about it. Also, we're going to cover NBA news tomorrow, so we're going to cover all the trades up to this point, the ones even that happened before the draft, the ones that happened on draft night. We're going to cover news, what's going on in the league in the past few weeks. It's been a crazy couple weeks, so we're going to cover all that tomorrow. And just give us a follow, be on the lookout for all of our content. We really appreciate y'all being here with us, and y'all enjoy y'all stuff out there, you lovely people.
Absolutely.